What's up, you friggin' nerds?
Hello there.
Ravonna Renslayer comes out soon, and in this video, I'm going to do my best to help you make an informed decision on whether or not you should try picking her up. Ravonna Renslayer reads, your cards with 1 or less power cost 1 less. Minimum 1. Now, a general rule of card games is cost reduction is usually good. I'd say mostly good, as we can see by what Loki did to the meta. Now that's certainly true for Ravonna, but I think Ravonna is way more restricted in what she can make good or be good with than any other card that is similar to this at all in Marvel Snap. Let's go ahead and take a look at the card she's going to discount. Before we go any further, I just want to let you guys know it's not fun making this sort of thing that's on the screen here. I hope they release less cards like Ravonna because I don't want to do this in every video. So as you can see by this list, there's synergies here, but they're only with like 1 or 2 cards. I think the exception to that would be the 3-cost cards that you would consider for a Mr. Negative deck. You've got Arnim Zola and Null, Iron Man and Mystique, the 2 Goblins and Black Widow, and aside from that, the rest of the cards don't seem to work together too well. Now, it is worth noting that the longer Ravonna Renslayer is out, she's going to get better due to new cards being able to be paired with Ravonna or discounted by her. So after looking at these cards, I can't say I'm too super excited for the potential here. We also got to consider Mobius, and Mobius comes out in a week, and he's going to completely dunk on Ravonna. Not only because his text counters Ravonna's text, but because I think Mobius is a much more hyped card, and in my opinion he's just going to be played a lot more just in general, even after the first week of Mobius being out.
What are you talking about?
Because his effect is just generally good. But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of decks that I thought of when I saw Ravonna Renslayer. First up is a disruptive deck. I posted almost a card for card list like this, except for Ravonna, obviously, a week or 2 ago on my channel. Check it out somewhere here on the screen. It turned out to be actually quite good, and I do play it on occasion still. It uses the disruption of the Goblins and Black Widow, which also serves as double duty to make your Darkhawk bigger, to restrict board space, and then the rocks from Rockslide and Korg, paired with the power output of Kitty, Angela, Titania, and Darkhawk himself. As you can see, Ravonna discounts a lot of the cards here. Now, you're not doing anything like super busted or broken with it, but a 3 energy card that just makes all your cards 1 energy cheaper in this list would basically mean you get to play Kitty Pryde every turn when you wouldn't be able to otherwise. And you could do things like you would with Zabu, like Rockslide and Darkhawk on the last turn of the game, Hobgoblin and Green Goblin in the same turn if you want. But yeah, it just adds a little bit more power output to this list. And a card that lets you play a Kitty Pryde essentially for free every turn. That's quite good, because the main drawback of Kitty Pryde is that it restricts what you can do on a given turn because you want to be building up Kitty Pryde every turn. But yeah, I personally think something like this is your best bet when playing Ravonna Renslayer, aside from the next deck we have coming up, which is a Mr. Negative deck. Now, Ravonna basically serves as our backup plan here, or as a sort of Sarah. There have been Mr. Negative decks in the past that played Sarah, and Ravonna is just better here simply because you can play her earlier, and it's a better backup plan than Sarah was in the other versions of Mr. Negative that played Sarah. So Mr. Negative really fucking sucks when you don't play Mr. Negative on turn 3 or 4. But with Ravonna, at least you have a fighting chance if you don't play out your Mr. Negative on time. So like I said, she's sort of like a better Sarah in this sort of list if you don't play out your Mr. Negative, and that's much better than the alternative of just playing a bunch of bad cards out on curve. Here you can do the Iron Man Mystique thing that everyone's like, oh, you can play Iron Man and Mystique out with Ravonna. That makes it good. No, that doesn't make it good. It really doesn't. But it's an alright backup plan if you don't get your Mr. Negative off. Bruh. Also, if you don't play your Mr. Negative, it lets you do White Tiger in one of your 3 drops on the same turn. It's alright too. This is probably the place you're going to see Ravonna pop up most. That's not saying much because honestly, Mr. Negative decks aren't super competitive. They don't have the highest win rate. But I think Ravonna is basically just going to bump up the win rate of Mr. Negative a little bit. Alright, so as you can tell, I'm not the biggest fan of Ravonna Renslayer. Now that is absolutely not to say that some nerd out there is gonna absolutely break this card and figure out some combo that nobody's thinking of, but I am saying that nerd is not gonna be me, because I'm not getting this card. I'm passing on Ravonna and saving up for Mobius, which I think most people can agree is just going to be a generically better card.
Are you sure about that?
And have you seen the cards in October yet? If you haven't, go check it out. They're bangers. Even if they aren't super good, they're still way more cool and interesting than Ravonna Renslayer. But yeah, that's it. I hope this video helped you out. If it didn't, shut up. That's it though. Good luck in your games. Later, nerds. Subscribe.